If you're an old-time gamer like me, you know that System Shock 2 just totally kicked ass. One of the best games. It may still be my favorite game ever, even though it wasn't a very big retail success. The critics loved it. I certainly loved it, and it's getting sort of a cult following now. And it plays great still, if you can get it to work, which is sort of a challenge on Vista. And that's why I wanted to do this video, because I finally got mine to work. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is to patch this thing. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is install the game, of course. And there's nothing to that, it just installs Windows like anything else. Didn't run into any trouble. But if you've got the original game, you've got that version 1.15, and you want to get up to 2.3. If you've got a newer version, or probably even these little cheap things, you find in some bin somewhere for $4, it's probably the new retail version or something that's 2.3, and you may not need to do it. And it can be hard to find the patch, depending on where you go, because some sites you get in, you find the patch you need, and then say, oh well, you got to pay $4 a month, to do it, or else you'll find the thing and the link won't work. So I got mine from this place, ss2.plasticcloud.com. Just install, download it and run it, and it just does the patch fine, no trouble. And you can probably start the game after this point. But you're almost certainly going to crash. It'll get totally hung up on you. For several reasons, I think. Which is why I've got information from 2 different sources that got mine to work finally. Now the first thing, if you may want to just try changing the compatibility to Windows XP to start with. That didn't work for me, but you could try it. If you just go into the exe file and you can change it to whatever. Now I ended up going with Windows 2000 because I was still having trouble with I'm trying to run it as XP, so it may not work the same for you. And I would go ahead and do this check mark to run as administrator. And actually, going back, I would install the program as administrator, and then you want to run it as administrator. And let's see if my computer will let me click OK or cancel. OK. You can go to a lot of sites. They have different information. People got it to work different ways. Seems to work differently for everybody, just about. But here's the one that I finally found a site who really helped me a lot, which is this Movie Tome site. I'll put the addresses up on the little whatchamacallit there after the on the right. Anyway, and I don't know if these are necessary, but I did them and my game worked. So the first one, you go to the cam file and you want to edit, or you want to add these 2 lines here to your cam.cfg file, which if you never open CFG file, just double click and it'll ask you what you want to try to open it with, and you'll just say Notepad or WordPad if you want to live dangerously, and open it up. Now this was my original CFG file here, and I added the 2 lines it said, and Gamma 1 got in there at some point later on, so I just go with these 2 because that's all it said to put in. So then you just want to save your file, and then you're ready for the next step. And this thing says to create a blank Notepad text document and just call it safe underscore texture underscore manager. Whatever, I did it, and then you want to download this file. Now I'm gonna put I'll put the URL up because this is the only file I know that, apparently this guy just figured out all the game adjustments he needed to make in order to get to work with Vista, and he is so kind to share it with the world. So you want to download that file and unzip it into your System Shock directory, which is probably sshock2. I think that's the default name. And then once you've got it unzipped, you're going to go in and change the original. This is going to replace your exe file basically. So this here is my original exe file, which I just renamed shock2.old. And then I took this file, the new file, which was shock2 fixed.exe or something like that, and just renamed it shock2.exe. Now you're almost ready to go here, and maybe it'll work for you. I don't know, but mine, you know, it would still freeze up, and you couldn't get very far in the game. It freeze up. But the problem apparently is that System Shock 2 has trouble running. If you're running more than one processor, System Shock 2 doesn't like it. So what you need to do is to tell System Shock 2 to run on just one of your processors. I don't think it might have got a dual core. If you got a quad or whatever, I don't think it's going to make a difference. We're just telling it to run on one core. And you know, some of the stuff I saw where I could go to you know, open the program, get to the start menu, go into Task Manager, and do my you know, right click on my Shock 2 exe and change the affinity there, which the affinity is apparently what controls the processors. But Vista wouldn't let me do that, so I was stumped at that point. And I finally came across this other site that tells you how to start a game in Vista and limit it to one specific processor. And this is actually going to be our start command, which is probably why it has start at the front of it. So you're not going to want to double click on your exe file. See, what we're going to want to do is go into a command prompt, which the easiest way, you know, is first to do run. And if you're not, you know, Vista sort of hid the run command, but if you just hold down the Windows key and R, it comes right up. CMD will take you to your command prompt. And then we want to get to our System Shock directory, putting some of our old DOS skills to work again. CD / there / I can never can tell what's the forward, what's the back. Anyway, that gets us to the C drive, and then we're just going to switch to our System Shock directory, which mine is this Shock 2. And then we're going to type in the start command that he has for us here. So start / affinity 001. And that part of it, that's the one that's telling it to just use this one specific processor. And then we'll do our normal shock2.exe or whatever the name of your exe file is, which it should be Shock 2 unless you renamed it, and just enter. It takes a few seconds, and we'll get this flicker, and of course we'll get this allow crap because it's Vista. But this should take you on in pretty quick. And voila. And the same thing will happen when you load the game. It'll kind of flicker for a while. Let's see, I'll get to my new game here. You see, we're going to get our flicker and stuff. So don't let that scare you. Because here we are. And, you know, we are ready to rock and roll. And, you know, I don't know if this will work for everybody. It worked for me. And it's such a great game. I wanted to just put it out there to, if anybody else, you know, if you get a hankering to play System Shock 2 again, you can actually get it to work on Vista. And that's pretty sweet.